Good evening, everyone. I'm Cecelia Fitzgibbon, President of Moore College of Art and Design, and welcome to our first ever virtual Visionary Woman Awards Gala. I hope you have a blast tonight. This is a different academic year in so many ways. But as I have told our Moore community, students, faculty, and staff, and you, our friends and supporters, I am finished complaining about it. This is a year full of opportunity, and the Visionary Woman Awards Gala is no exception. We can do some things even better in this virtual setting. You're all undoubtedly more comfortable at home. Perhaps you've gathered a few more family friends and family members to watch. We're combining the best of our day-long Visionary Woman program of events. You'll get to know our honorees in their workspaces via pre-recorded videos. Then they will be live in conversation and answering some of your questions. They're here with us this evening. Also, we realize that technology happens. So we'll be recording the festivities and providing the link for you in the coming days. So should you have a blip in your internet, you won't miss a thing. Let's get started. Moore was founded by Sarah Worthington Peter 172 years ago with a very clear mission. And I quote, "To instruct young women in the arts of drawing, design, and wood engraving so that they will be able to succeed in these branches of industry, not only for their own benefit, but also for the benefit of American manufacturers." Simply put, Sarah founded the college to provide a career-focused education that would allow young women to achieve financial independence. Quite a feat in 1848. Today, Moore continues to advance that vision. Our Moore students and alumni are thinkers, creators, and the doers who are creating products, art, and affecting social change. They are the artists, the designers, the educators, the entrepreneurs, and the business people whose work makes our lives better and whose skills are in demand in the global marketplace. Tonight, you're here to help us fund scholarships for our academically gifted, artistically talented, and future-faced students, our Visionary Woman Scholars. Every year, each of these students receive a $22,000 scholarship and often an additional housing subsidy for their housing. And many of them could not be here without your support. In this unprecedented year, you are supporting our students financially and by being here emotionally. In 2020, as they navigate socially distant or hybrid learning and new economic realities, your contributions are telling our students, we believe in you and your power to make a contribution and a difference. At last year's Visionary Woman Awards, we paid special tribute to Jane Valentis, graduated in '66, a visionary woman herself, and truly a visionary donor to Moore. Jane was a member of the board of trustees and managers for 10 years. She and her husband, David, are responsible for some of the most generous gifts in our college's history. Just last year, Jane gave an historic $5 million gift to establish the Valentis Visionary Woman Scholars, providing scholarships each year to 10 non-Pennsylvania residents who are accepted into our Visionary Woman Honors Program. Jane passed away this summer, and we want to remember her as an extraordinary alumna, artist, philanthropist, friend, and spirit. We miss you, Jane. Sorry. And now we move forward. Tonight we are thrilled to honor women who have demonstrated outstanding achievement in art and design. Our 2020 Visionary Woman Award recipients, Barbara Eberlein and Susan Unterberg. They are indeed powerful role models, as you will see in the video celebration of their work and accomplishments.
I think for women and those underrepresented in the arts coming out of high school, it's very important to, stick with your gut.
Really just shoot high with your aspirations and your dreams.
Go out there and do what you're meant to do.
Because being at Moore has definitely taught me that I can achieve a lot more than I thought I could.
I've spent my life and my career working with young people. What could be better than investing in the creative future of this country? Moore College of Art and Design has been around for a very long time. We are an historic women's college that educates people who are expert in art and design. The Visionary Woman Honors Program was established to honor women who could function as role models for the students here at Moore. And the women that we're honoring today fit that bill remarkably.
My name is Susan Unterberg, and I'm a visual artist, mostly using photography. The work always comes from an emotional place. I've always taken pictures to discover what I feel, and until I see them visually, sometimes I have a difficult time understanding my feelings and my ideas. I'll show you some of my very recent photos. I'm taking photographs and headings from newspaper articles. I do what I do digitally to change them. This one even has me in it. And they're kind of fun to do, even though they're sad.
Susan is the penultimate visionary woman. Her work is in the permanent collection of the Metropolitan Museum of Art and the Modern Museum of Art. And more than anything else, Susan Unterberg understood what the glass ceiling was keeping women from doing.
Well, I wasn't brought up to have a career. I was brought up to perhaps finish college and get married and live happily ever after. So it was a fight to finish college and go on. 24 years ago, I set up 10 grants to mid-career women artists over the age of 35 who were under-recognized, because I thought it was a time that we needed to hear more voices from women. Anonymous Was a Woman is no longer a little-known program. It's had quite a lot of legs, and I'm very proud of it.
It's rare to see an artist who contributes to society in addition to the gift of their work. And that's what's so very wonderful about Susan.
I'm really inspired by Susan Unterberg's work, specifically her Close Focus series. I really admired the abstraction of the human face, the way she approaches it and allows you to see the abstraction in something that is an everyday figure.
My name is Emily Morton, and I am a photography and digital arts major at Moore College of Art and Design. I'd have to say my style of photography would be mostly portraiture. I like to experiment with different techniques using things like fairy lights and just different props to create interesting effects. Every Christmas and birthday I would ask for art supplies and camera supplies, and I kind of just took my artistic abilities from there.
It definitely helps to have a good relationship with my models. I often use my close friends. Knowing how to make them smile and make them laugh definitely is a helpful factor to get great photographs. As far as inspiration, I'm definitely drawn to the work of Sarah Ann Johnson. She's a photographer who works with multimedia, and I really like the fun and childlike medium that she uses, and I find that very helpful as far as inspiration in my own work. I'm definitely passionate about what I do and being able to dig a little deeper with my photographs.
Being a Moore student is really about your creativity and your passion for art and design. Developing your ideas to be a better artist.
I was really drawn to Moore College of Art and Design because it was an all-women's college. That idea kind of resonated with me because I recognized that it's really a way for the school to provide support for women artists.
It's all about doing what's right for you, and it's all about making a difference, and I think that Moore has allowed me to do that a lot.
I'm Barbara Eberlein. I'm the president and creative director of Eberlein Design Consultants Limited. We're known for traditional, exuberant, very colorful work. What I love is a huge divergence of creative messages, creative input. It allows me to be able to generate concepts that are new and fresh, and I hope every single expression is new and unique. Design is active problem solving. It's done as a response to a person, a program, a building. So the process is actually looking at what the building is in its native state, talking to our client about what are the goals for that space and what would they like to see, and then expanding all the possibilities.
We're so lucky to have Barbara here in Philadelphia. She's made a huge impact on the design world. She's an intellectual and a learner and a teacher, all in one.
I thought interior design was just a talent that one had. I didn't really know that there was a way to develop yourself professionally, build a firm, and become known for that. That was complete mystery to me. But when I moved to Philadelphia, I discovered that I was taking my talents for writing about design and architecture and really wanted to pursue the practice of it. I want more. I want to produce more. I want to make more. I want to build more. We have the reward that you made it. It's always part of you. That is the part of a creative individual that is the most elemental. That's what you need to keep going.
Barbara Eberlein's work is really, truly amazing. A lot of times you see someone who's trying to go too outside of the box and too crazy, and I think Barbara Eberlein's work is really traditional in that aspect.
My name's Alisa Sepulveda. My major is interior design, and I'm a junior at Moore College of Art and Design. I would say my style of design is a little bit classic. I like mid-century modern as well, and updating things. That's sort of my take on design. I discovered my artistic abilities in high school. I got really into sketching and drawing. I have an artistic eye for that, and I really thought it was fun. I find my inspiration all around Philly. I love all the small streets, the waterfront. I feel like my design side comes out when I'm in the city, so it's great. I have so many ideas whenever I start something new. I have to get all of them out on paper. I have to sketch and draw and get words out so that I can actually hone it down and get a solid idea. It's really exciting to be able to be doing something I'm so passionate about.
After graduation, I feel like I had an opportunity to see what life is like outside of my small neighborhood that I grew up in for years.
Young women today who are aspiring to become professional artists have so many opportunities, but my basic advice is to get out into the world, look at things, find beauty every single day.
I definitely use the Piccolo Cafe as an inspiration location. It creates a great vibe as far as the kind of photos that I'm looking to achieve.
I will sometimes go to different parts of Philly to tap into my creative side. I'll go to Rittenhouse Square, the riverfront, the top of the bridge, you know? Like, it's a great place to get surrounded by design.
Well, during COVID, I have been able to stay creative. It's a little harder, but I work digitally, remotely. The work that I want to make gets done, and it seems to be flourishing. I couldn't do this work without technology.
I guess that's definitely helpful as far as like COVID and everything going on, for everything to be digital rather than like more hands-on.
Art is extremely digital now. A lot of my classes I can do online, and a lot of my work I can do online, which is great.
During this time, I feel like I've been inspired and motivated to work with a lot of self-portraiture. I haven't had access to a whole bunch of models to work with. I feel like that's definitely been a way that I can push myself and be creative in new ways.
I think interior design has really led me to branch out in everything that I do.
I definitely enjoy capturing people and being able to show that there's something deeper beneath the surface.
I love the women at Moore. I love teaching there. I love doing crits. You can really see how they evolve as individuals, as presenters, as creative forces too. Keep going, keep looking, don't give up, don't put the pencil down.
I faced my own challenges with a family who was not very encouraging and didn't take what I did very seriously. I think without going to college, I would never be where I am now. I really owe it all to education.
All of the dollars generated through the support to this event go to scholarships for our Visionary Woman Honors Scholars Program.
The Visionary Honors Program is definitely a beneficial program to me specifically. I know I would not have been able to attend Moore without the scholarship.
It has given me such an opportunity to be able to explore my creativity and really to start thinking about networking and events and how to present yourself.
Who better to invite to come to college but very talented students who have a passion for what we teach.
I definitely see myself going into interior design and making this an entire career for myself.
I definitely would love to continue photography for the rest of my life.
The students who benefit from the Visionary Woman Honors Program have been going on through this pandemic. Some of them are struggling, and that's why this scholarship at this moment is so very, very critical. The world needs more.
Hello, I'm Meg Johnson, and I'm the chair of the Visionary Woman Awards. Tonight's celebration is made possible by the work and generosity of many people, especially the members of our Visionary Woman Awards committee, who I hope are relaxing on their sofa, cocktail in hand, a pretty top, sparkling earrings, and sweatpants. I know I am. On behalf of Moore and the Visionary Woman Scholarships, I am endlessly grateful to each one of you. And now it's time to virtually present the awards. Our honorees each have their beautiful award on hand, designed by independent glass artist Anna Booth. So let's make the awards officially official and allow two admirers to pay tribute to Barbara and Susan as they formally accept this honor. Peter Leiden is the president of the Institute of Classical Architecture and Art and an active member of the Royal Oak Foundation and the National Trust of England. Prior to the ICAA, Peter was the Chief Philanthropy Officer at the American Museum of Natural History. His other professional leadership positions included a directorship at the American Ballet Theater's Department of Development and roles as the Senior Executive Director of Development at the Montefiore Medical Center and the Albert Einstein College of Medicine. Peter, please introduce your friend and colleague, Barbara.
Ladies and gentlemen, Philadelphia was known as the Athens of America for its artistic spirit. One of today's leading citizens of the arts is our Barbara Eberlein. Like a modern-day Athena, the Greek goddess of art and creativity, Barbara's touch can be seen as a teacher, as a mentor, and as a patron of the arts. Her links to cultural institutions is so evident in Philadelphia, whether the Pennsylvania Ballet, the Philadelphia Museum of Fine Arts, and historical associations. On the national front, Barbara serves as a leading trustee of the Institute of Classical Architecture and Art. There, she shares her knowledge and design and helps mold the next generation of creative spirits. However, her contribution to the Moore College of Art and Design is vast, where young women are encouraged and empowered to use their creativity. Creativity is finally recognized in today's day. There are no challenges for Barbara, just opportunities. Moore allows its young women to think out of the box. With Barbara, there is no box. The students, the faculty, and the administration, we all value you, Barbara. Moore is a better place because of your presence and your wisdom. So lucky to call you my dearest friend. You're a true Athena of our time. Congratulations.
Thank you, Peter. Oh my goodness, I'm getting choked up before I even begin. And sincere thanks to President Fitzgibbon and your astonishing team for crafting this memorable celebration and a beautiful exhibition that's being enjoyed physically by the students and faculty at Moore, and by all of us too, virtually, on Moore's new website. It's truly an honor to share the galleries with Susan Unterberg, whose work is uniquely powerful and expressive. And special thanks to my extraordinarily gifted and dedicated staff, my expert artistic collaborators, and my trusting clients, without whom none of this would have come to fruition. And especially to my family, relentless cheerleaders all, for believing in me always. I'm so happy to be here today to celebrate, and to celebrate you, the students, and your exceptional educational opportunities, your talent, your drive, and all the myriad traits that allow you to be part of this incredible institution. Moore delivers what they promise by nurturing creativity, individuality, expression, responsibility, risk-taking, synergy, interaction, exploration, community, and leadership. Artists, by nature, are brave. They let their guard down so that others can learn from what is in their heads and in their hearts. They take chances and forge ahead into territory that is yet to be discovered. So many people took chances on me, and they will with you too. The trick is to recognize when those opportunities present themselves. Take hold of them and use them wisely to build your own future. However we arrive at this spring point, it is the place you never want to lose sight of, even though you might redefine it repeatedly throughout your career. In fact, one of the most freeing moments in my career was when I realized that neither life nor learning was necessarily linear. The detours are where the discoveries are. These are explorations that lead to unexpected connections, and these are the source of the unique insights that we, as artists, can add to the world. And, as an artist, you have a special responsibility to express those ideas that can change the world. Take these special gifts and communicate ideas, images, and experiences with others that are meaningful and memorable. So stand tall, look out, look around, look at everything, don't miss a thing. See how your perspective has grown, revealing more and more over time. Now take that revelation and use it to tell your unique story in your unique voice, in a way that's compelling, relevant, challenging, compassionate, and above all, connected. Because your outlook is dazzling. And yes, it may be dizzying too, but hang on to that vision and share it with me. Show me, inspire me, persuade me, educate me, and make me care. My mother taught me to recognize, nurture, and hone my talents, and then to enjoy the most important and most satisfying part of being an artist, when we get to share these gifts with others. Thank you.
Barbara, thank you so much. Those were wonderful remarks, and don't just apply to students as all of us continue to chart our path forward. We're so very grateful to have you as part of the Moore community. Now, another part of the Moore community, Kathy Butterly, Moore College of Art class of 1986, is a renowned artist. Her work has appeared in important exhibitions around the world and is in the permanent collection of the Boston Museum of Fine Art, MoMA, the Smithsonian Museum of American Art, and dozens more. We are so proud to call her a Moore alumna. Kathy has been a recipient of the Visionary Woman Award. She's received grants from the Guggenheim Foundation and from Anonymous Was a Woman, which I am sure you will hear more about. Kathy, please introduce us to a role model and benefactor, Susan Unterberg.
Hello. It is my honor and a privilege to introduce artist and philanthropist Susan Unterberg as a recipient of this year's Visionary Woman Award. I cannot think of anyone who fits the bill better than Susan to be honored as being a visionary woman. She truly walks the walk. Susan's rich career as an artist includes exhibitions of her work in galleries and museums in the US and abroad. Her photographs have been acquired into the permanent collections of MoMA, the Met, New York's Jewish Museum, and the LA County Museum of Art, among others. She has recently been honored by the Skowhegan School of Painting and Sculpture and received NYU's Distinguished Alumni Award. Susan has participated in numerous prestigious residencies and fellowships, including American Academy in Rome, the MacDowell Colony, and Giotto. In 2013, Susan was voted in as co-chair of Giotto, where she not only was the first artist voted to the board, but she was also the first woman to be voted on the board of Giotto. In 1996, informed by her life as an artist, Susan Unterberg founded the Anonymous Was a Woman Award. The grant was created to support women identifying artists who were over 40 years of age. Susan did not reveal her identity as the sole funder of the award until 2018, when under the current political administration, she felt that women standing up and being named could take on a greater political force. In 2002, I received a call from the Anonymous Was a Woman Award Foundation informing me that I was awarded a grant. The first thing I did was burst into tears, and I know so many other recipients had the same reaction. The financial help was so needed, but equally important was the validation that the work I was creating in my studio in solitude was being seen and acknowledged. When Susan came out as the founder and sole funder of the Anonymous Was a Woman Award, I felt an even deeper sense of acknowledgement because Susan is an artist, and an artist supporting another artist is the highest compliment. In these tumultuous times, when it seems that divisions are the norm, Susan's example of community building and support for fellow women artists should inspire us all to practice generosity in whatever capacity we can. Thank you, Susan, for sharing your art with us and for your philanthropic work. You are a visionary woman. Thank you.
Thank you, Kathy, for this wonderful introduction and for the Moore community for this great honor. And I'm so proud to be sharing it with Barbara as a co-visionary woman. So it's all very heady and very terrific. I'm humbled by this recognition. It is important to me in moments like this to acknowledge and thank people and communities that have helped me. As Hillary Clinton says, it takes a village. First and foremost, my work would not have been possible without my education. Going to school allowed me to rise beyond my prescribed role as a housewife, which required me to drop out of college early towards becoming an artist. In my education, and later on in artist retreats and colonies, I also found peers and mentors who have been important supporters of my work. Being an artist is made sweeter, more meaningful, in good company, where you can generously share excitement and support. After you all graduate from Moore, you will undoubtedly miss this community, especially now as we have had to learn to remake connection in a time of COVID and isolation. I encourage you all to acknowledge these connections in your lives, to maintain those you have built here, and to look for new communities going forward. One of my proudest accomplishments as an artist has been to support this very community through the grant program I began almost 25 years ago. Anonymous was a woman. Being able to give visibility to a group of artists who are often quite invisible, women in mid-career, has been a way for me to share in the accomplishments and innovations of my peers. Our individual accomplishments can only be seen in relation to others. A vision is defined as much by its content as by who it affects. As you develop your own visions, think about who you will share them with. Thank you so much.
As I am sure you agree, both Barbara and Susan are most deserving of our 2020 Visionary Woman Award. And I love the way you both spoke to the students. Thank you for that generosity and those messages. They were wonderful. The galleries at Moore are pleased to honor Barbara and Susan with presence in the fall exhibition this season. Even though our campus is closed to the public, our students, faculty, and staff have the opportunity to see the work of these talented women in person. I have enjoyed it very much walking through our hallway and our galleries and seeing the work, which is remarkable. You can also check it out by visiting the galleries at Moore online through our website. And now it is my absolute pleasure to introduce the portion of the program that allows us to get to know these distinguished creators even better. Our roundtable discussion will be moderated by Tracey Matisak. Tracey is an award-winning journalist. Many of you know her from her journalism career at Fox 29 and WHYY. She's also hosted high-profile conversations with business leaders, artists, and authors on the web and at the Free Library of Philadelphia. She is the perfect person to help us gain more insight into the creative journeys of our honorees. Tracey, Barbara, and Susan, welcome.
Thank you so much, Cecelia. It is a delight to be here, and I want to extend my warmest congratulations to Barbara and Susan, our award winners. This year, they certainly embody what the Visionary Woman Award is all about. And I just want to take a moment to thank all of you who support Moore College of Art, because you are investing in the creative leaders of tomorrow, and you're also providing a wonderful opportunity for them to meet with the creative leaders of today. What a great opportunity it is for students to have access to people like Barbara and Susan, who are at the top of their profession, even if it's virtual access. It's a wonderful opportunity, and you are making that possible, making this whole evening possible, and of course, making scholarships available for very deserving students. So we certainly want to extend our thanks for your continued support of Moore College of Art. That said, why don't we jump into our conversation? I would encourage you, as you're listening to our conversation, to jot down any questions that you might have for our awardees, because we've budgeted some time toward the end of the evening for your questions. So with that in mind, Barbara, why don't I start with you? I have read that you view design, or you view houses as a stage on which people play out their lives. Can you talk a little bit about that philosophy and how it informs your work?
Oh, yes. Houses are characters all of their own. There are many times that we see movies, particularly one shot at historic properties, where the house is a character. The house is a vital force in the storytelling. And I see it very much that way, that people grow comfortable and they grow happy and they grow as families and as individuals, when they're in a position where they can express their own feelings and establish a level of serenity, an oasis, really. I think that's very much what's happening when we think about this isn't just a house, this is something more. This is the cocoon where you're going to live and develop as a person.
And that's probably never been more true than it's been this year, since
Absolutely.
we've been spending so much time at home. Susan, lots of questions for you as well. I want to talk to you about Anonymous Was a Woman, and you've mentioned that you made the decision to go public and to identify yourself, and a little bit of why you made that decision. Can you expand on that a little bit, and also tell us where that name, Anonymous Was a Woman, came from?
Sure. I decided 2 years ago to out myself, and it was a huge decision for me because I'm a rather shy, reticent person behind the scenes, and outing, I didn't know how it would be received or what would happen. And one of my regrets now is I wished I had done it a little bit sooner, because it's a time for women. I think Kathy Butterly spoke to it also, for women to express themselves now. And I felt I had to be the voice of Anonymous Was a Woman because it's my program. And I had always wanted the grant to be about the artists and not the benefactor, which is somewhat different in the world of philanthropy. But I feel that 23 years was enough of that. And I basically am glad I outed myself. And the name came from Virginia Woolf, and how women, when they made art for so many years, had to do it anonymously because, you know, women's work was not valued the way men's work was. That's a short answer.
Well, and that's a good one. I'd love for each of you to talk a little bit more about the role and the progress of women in the creative world, and in your part of the creative world in particular. Barbara, we'll start with you. Where do you see women right now in terms of the progress that we have made, or the lack thereof for that matter?
I think I'm very fortunate to be in a profession that has always welcomed women. I should correct that. Perhaps not in the 19th century. They were men, by and large, purveyors of art and antiques, and in addition to that, were offering decorative services also. But by the early 20th century, with the rise of the great lady decorators, and I use that term with reverence, these women were ferocious business people, incredible powers of creativity, nonstop energy, and they simply weren't taking no for an answer. And that was the beginning of how women started to really dominate the interior design profession in this country, in England, and even in France, believe it or not. So we're sort of being swept along in their thermals, and we thank them for that. But I think that women, by and large, have a tremendous opportunity in many, many different parts of this profession, and it's quite varied. Where we're having more trouble, I think, is not surprisingly in architecture, where we're certainly underrepresented. And the more those two fields become aligned and interdependent, which is certainly happening, the more I think we're going to be able to influence the architecture profession as well.
Susan, what do you say?
Well, don't get me started. Barbara, I'm so happy to hear that in your field, women have made, such an impact, and I agree they have.
Yeah,
but
we rule.
In my world, that is not the case, and the statistics are horrendous. Even today, we hear, a bit publicity-wise, that women are getting a show and they're doing this and that. But in the auction market, 2% of the total market share, 2% go to women. And it's not much better in museum collections. It's like 3 or 4%. And white women, when they get a chance, do better than women of color. And just the statistics, the data is terrible. So I'm hoping that with the Black Lives Matter movement, we will see some changes, but yet changes have to start from the top, from museum boards, from curators and all. So that's, again, a brief answer, but it isn't very encouraging so far.
Susan, you've also mentioned that politics is part of your work, that you've rolled it into the work that you do. Can you talk about why that's important? I mean, especially in the year that we are in and everything that's happening politically, changing almost moment to moment. Why is it important for you to incorporate politics into your work?
Now, mind you, it's not incorporated into Anonymous Was a Woman, but my own personal work is always derived from how I'm feeling and what is engaging me at the time. And ever since Trump got elected, I've been, as well as I'm sure many people here, distraught with what's happening in our country. And I'm a news junkie. And a lot of my work in the past has involved self-portraiture. So I began trying to make artist books and getting them out so people could see them, to do with the political situation. And the first one was called Bad Politics, with some of the things that Trump has done in his administration. The second was Fantasy America, with what I hoped would happen, and like humane immigration and, all sorts of things. And the third one, which I'm working on until the coming election, is Crimes and Misdemeanors. And of course, there's so much there that happens every day. So it is my passion, and I can't think of doing any other work right now.
Well, and there's enough going on in politics probably to keep you busy for a long time to come. Barbara, a lot of your work involves preservation. Can you talk about how you got interested in that? What sparked that interest in preservation and history?
I probably had the strangest background for an interior designer of anyone I know. I started out imagining that I was going to be a fashion designer. I designed and made all of my own clothes, and I mean all of them. Until I was in college, when I discovered this bigger world of art history, ancient religious history, and archaeology. And I dove into that and tried to pull the pieces apart that would show me how people in different cultures thought, how they evolved, where did they live, why did they live like that? How did where they live and how they lived affect their culture and their society? And this was fascinating. My mother was very fond of saying that I was never going to be able to get a job majoring in this, and I still have not told her that she's right. But I started writing about design and architecture when I was living in Chicago. And when I moved to Philadelphia, I got my first opportunity working with Daroff Design, with Karen Daroff, who's an illustrious alumna of the school, and learned a tremendous amount. And mainly what the big revelation was that I didn't just want to write about this, I wanted to do it and practice it. And in fact, if you look at it with a broad lens, archaeology proved to be the perfect background for that, because it really, quite literally, teaches you to get into the dirt and dig deep and question assumptions and imagine people's lives. It was an extraordinary background, and that, coupled with history and art, went a long, long way.
I just am curious to know, on a practical level, when you're working with a client, what happens when you and a client have very different taste, or you feel that perhaps the client doesn't have very good taste? How do you sort of navigate that?
This is such a good question. I'm asked this all the time, and I get more and more surreptitious in my answers. Try to be as diplomatic as possible. First of all, everybody wants to have a success experience. So if I'm meeting with a client at the very beginning of a project and it feels like we're not speaking the same language at all and I can't learn their language, which is my job, then I might suggest that perhaps we take a different tack. More often than not, what people are responding to is that they can only promote and ask for the things that they know and recognize. My job is to give them that and 1,000% more. My job is to respond precisely to what they've said, but show them avenues that they can explore that will make the entire project more satisfying and longer lasting, because what we do doesn't get thrown away in 5 years, and it has nothing to do with trends. That house better last for 100 years and stick with that family forever. Otherwise, we missed it.
Yeah. Excellent. Susan, you mentioned earlier, you talked about the invisibility of women when you were talking about Anonymous was a woman, particularly middle-aged women artists. But I think invisibility is something that women in middle age or various stages of their life struggle with anyway. Can you speak a little bit more to that idea of invisibility?
Sure. Well, that was the whole point of setting up Anonymous was a woman. I was, I guess, middle-aged, more on the younger middle-aged spectrum then, but definitely middle-aged. And I was feeling that it was difficult to be recognized, and going, to many artist colonies, I saw my fellow artists there also having a very difficult time, where younger women, especially now, are the hot young commodity, and they get picked up, right from graduate school, and they do quite well. But it's the middle age that's very much the desert, and I felt I wanted to give that segment of our population some attention. And I don't know whether it's working, but it is getting attention. And I hope older women also seem to get recognized later on, especially after they've died. So I think this is a real need and continues to be. So I think this is the focus of our program.
You also mentioned, Susan, that when you were younger and just starting out, that you really did not have the support of your family as you were pursuing a career in art. Can you talk about that a little bit and how you managed to navigate that?
Well, it was difficult. I got divorced along the way, and I did fight to go back to college to finish, and then I went on to graduate school. And I was making controversial work. My practice has always been somewhat controversial. I was photographing family, that's what I became known for, in ways that seemed more honest to me. And now we see that all the time. But it was very unique then, starting with mothers and daughters, and fathers and sons, and sisters and couples, and so I think it came out in my work, even though it wasn't intentional, but there it was, just like in my work now, it's, what I'm consumed with. So I don't know if that answers your question.
No, it does. Thank you. We have just a few minutes left in our conversation before we go to our audience questions. But Barbara, what would you say you are most proud of in your work?
Oh, that's easy. My children. And I tell them all the time. But on a professional level, I think there are, and this seems like a dichotomy, but there are two aspects on the extreme ends of that spectrum. One is the decades-long relationships that I've enjoyed and built with clients, with staff, with collaborators over a long period of time, and those feel like they just go forever and ever. The flip side of that is I'm very proud that so many designers who were once part of our team have started successful design firms of their own, so many. And while we're always sad to see them depart, it is the best example of mentoring, working, and you always try, but you never know whether or not it's really going to make the difference for someone else. But the fact that they've gone out on their own when they're ready and have become successful in each of the niche markets that they've elected to pursue is really gratifying.
Susan, we've got artists of tomorrow who are joining us in this conversation, and I wonder what your advice to them would be.
Well, as I mentioned in my, introduction, getting the grant, getting the wonderful honor, education is your best tool for success and keeping community and staying true to what you believe in and keeping going. And there are bumps along the road and you're going to be turned down. I'm still turned down for a lot of things, but that shouldn't deter you, and just keep going.
Yeah, perseverance is the key. Got a question here from our audience. Question says, hi, Barbara and Susan. What is your advice for young women artists and designers to create positive change for the future? So Barbara, we'll start with you, and then Susan, I'd love for you to weigh in as well. How do you create positive change for the future?
I think this is going to sound a little general, but I think we have to be general right now. I think what's happening in the world is so unpredictable that we need to stay agile and creative. We need to keep our energy up and keep a positive attitude that makes everyone around you, in addition to you, feel like you have the ability to say something, do something, be something that's meaningful and lasting. It's got to start with the energy and the attitude, because we are going to see a lot more surprises, I think, in the short run. And as artists in particular, and women artists, you have to be able to have your voice and feel confident about it.
Susan?
I like Barbara's answer. I would ditto that, and I would say just my work isn't always, positive, particularly now, but make the work that you believe in, and don't listen to others if they don't necessarily agree with you. Find mentors and do the work.
Susan, just as a follow-up to that, I'm curious to get your thoughts, and Barbara's as well, about how the artistic world may have taken some cues from movements like Me Too and Time's Up that have really kind of captured the nation's attention over the last year or so. How has the artistic world maybe taken any cues from that?
Well, I don't think I'm the best person to ask about that. Personally, our grant making, we've given grants through the years to lots of diverse artists. So I feel very, very proud of that we haven't been negligent in any way. But I think in the larger world, we're seeing museum shows and museum curators beginning to pay attention to artists of color and Latino artists, and I think it's wonderful. But we don't know how that will affect the market, and I can't answer to that. Neither can anyone. But I think some attention is definitely being paid to it.
Yeah. And Barbara, there's a question from our audience along similar lines that says, how do you get around the sexism that's in the industry?
You ignore it. Just ignore it. Just keep moving. If you just keep moving, their words can't hurt you. But you have to be willing to work 10 times harder than anyone else and not become resentful about it. That's the key. It's just the ultimate weapon against the negativity and the naysayers, that if I just keep going and I keep producing beautiful work, that's the answer.
Yeah. Another question has to do with continuing education. So the question is, thank you for your inspirational stories. Do you have any advice on how to continue your education after school and formal education?
Oh my gosh, I think we are so lucky these days. And yes, it was spurred ahead by COVID, by necessity, but I'm not exaggerating if I say that I attend an absolute minimum of 3 classes a week. Absolute minimum. And they're coming at us from every organization. I'm particularly involved with the Institute of Classical Architecture and Art, and at least 2 of those 3 classes a week are theirs. But there are many, many others, and you have to tap into that. You have to make time for it. You just have to tell yourself that this is a priority and will be for my entire life. Because we're very fond of saying that so much of what we do with our creative output is going out. It's going out, out, out. And you can get depleted fast. You need things to come in, but you need to feed yourself. You need to go find those courses that have inherent interest to you. You need to figure out where you have particular challenges and find courses that will fill in the blanks. And it's your responsibility, ultimately, but the rewards are also yours.
Susan?
Well, life is a learning experience, and I think technically there are new advances every day. Well, I'm not so good about keeping up with those, but I try, and I try to have people like my wonderful Gabby, who helps me, who's a lot younger, and she's our director of Anonymous, but she's also worked with me every week. And I too take classes, political ones and other ones. And there are ways, and I agree, during this COVID period, there's even more of them. You have to kind of just, you can't do everything. Your appetite is too big, and you have to control it.
Well, and I think there's a real lesson there, that people like yourselves at the top of your profession, the learning never ends, and that's good advice for all of us. Before we wrap up this part of the program, I'd like to ask each of you, what keeps you optimistic? We're certainly living in turbulent times, as we've been talking about throughout the evening, but what keeps you going, keeps you optimistic in the face of everything that we're dealing with in 2020? Susan?
I can answer that. My grandchildren. My children too, my 2 daughters, but my 5 grandchildren make me really optimistic about the world and what's ahead. They're all doing creative things. They're all, they're wonderful people, and they teach me more than anything else in this world. And they're, from the ages of, I think, 23 to 26. I might be off a year, but they're sort of grown, amazing, intelligent human beings.
Yeah. Well, you are blessed. Barbara, how about you? What keeps you optimistic?
Oh, I would concur with Susan's statement exactly. That's it. And seeing how young people have responded in university settings at Moore, I was just amazed when Cecelia called and said, we're going to do this exhibition for real, it's physical, we're going in, the students and faculty are going to enjoy it. And I thought, well, yeah, just keep moving forward. But the ability to roll with it and to stay fluid and flexible and responsive is one of the key lessons in life. And I think they're all doing that, and it helps make it easier for we dinosaurs also.
Well, before I turn it over to Meg Johnson for some important acknowledgments, just want to say on behalf of all of us, thanks so much to both of you. You have shared so much wisdom and encouragement with all of us. And I know I've learned a lot. I'm sure that our students and the rest of our audience has learned a great deal as well. Thank you both so very much, and continued success to both of you and in all of your endeavors. Meg?
Thank you, Tracey. That was wonderfully moderated, and I think the recollections and the advice and the insight that both Susan and Barbara offered to all of us, again, have made this a really special evening. At this time, I want to recognize all of our sponsors. So this is the year that you surprised us. We were worried about our increased financial need and our limited ability to reach out and raise funds during quarantine. We realized in May that we had to make this an event virtual to protect everyone's health and well-being. And here you all are, Zooming right along with us. You came through for us. You came through for our students and their scholarships. Thanks to all of you, this evening we are on track to raise nearly $300,000 for scholarships. Again, we couldn't do it without you, and we deeply, deeply appreciate it. Now, as we wrap up this special evening, I'm going to regretfully say goodnight and conclude our presentation with some remarks and gratitude from more important people, the beneficiaries of your generosity.
Hello, participants of Moore's 2020 Visionary Women Gala online edition. I'm glad we still have this opportunity to connect and communicate and, show our appreciation for those that have sponsored this program. Speaking of, big thank you to the people that have donated and sponsored the Visionary Women program. I know myself and many others would not be able to be here today learning from the amazing teachers and the amazing peers if it weren't for this scholarship. Big thank you.
Being part of the Visionary Women's Honors Program has opened an opportunity for me to grow and develop as a leader as well as improve as an artist. I would like to say to the donors who support this program, thank you so much for everything that you've done for Moore and for all the students here. And I wish you the best during this time.
Since coming to Moore and being a part of the Visionary Women's Honor Program, I've since been able to take risks and apply myself more as a leader and as an artist. And it's really encouraged me to be involved in my student community, and ultimately it's helped me find my voice. So thank you so much.
The scholarship program is also really personally impactful for me because I'm a first-generation student, so my parents weren't able to save anything for my college. When I decided to take the leap from having a full-time serving career to going back to school, I knew I wanted it to be something that I was going to be passionate about for the rest of my life, and design was it. So Moore is the place for me to be, and without the Visionary Women's Scholarship, I wouldn't be here. To the donors who support this program and our other scholarship programs here, the best thing I can say is thank you. It's such an incredible gift that you're able to give to me and to the other recipients that I can't even begin to explain how impactful it is.
My ultimate goal in my career is to become an art director or something of that sort, and I feel like the combination of Moore's academic programs and the leadership program will give me the skills that I need to achieve that goal. So I'm just hoping to learn more about myself in being a leader and what can I achieve with it. So thank you guys so much for all your help.
Over the next 4 years that I spend at Moore, I'm currently hoping that the Visionary Honors Program, specifically the academic path, will help me learn about how to become the best student that I can be academically, and how I will ultimately be able to apply this and transfer this into a career setting after I graduate.
I want to be able to succeed and grow as a person. And I think the Visionary Honors Program will allow me to do that. Thank you.
And I just really want to thank Moore College of Art and Design for giving me the scholarship opportunity, because it's really made it possible to be able to go to college and to pursue my passion of animation.
To those who have donated to the program, I would like to say thank you for your generous contribution and for empowering the current and future generations of artists that will attend Moore.
And I hope that those who have donated or sponsored before will continue to do so, and I hope that they see the value in what we can learn from this program and how we use that in our
development as adults and creatives in a global space. Thank you so much.